Good morning. Welcome to the Doug Stanhope podcast. Also, the podcast of the Uncancellable Sian Smyth. Good morning, Sean.
Good morning.
We haven't had Zoom guests since the olden times, in the quarantines.
Yeah.
But this is a very special occasion. I watched the first 2 episodes of your new podcast, the Uncancellable Sian Smyth. That's S-I-A-N, Sean.
S-M-Y-T-H.
Yeah, you have to make a fucking simple name as difficult as possible.
Yeah.
The podcast is phenomenal. I'm looking forward to part 3. The fuckhead Alex did spoiler alert me, so I do know what happens, but how it happens is all the fun in your new
I think
show.
we can touch on it a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead. Start.
Well, what did you like most about it? That's what I want to know right now. Let's touch on that.
Well, at first, the first thing that stood out, it was almost 4 minutes in where I go, she must do this by herself, because only like Bill Burr can really pull that off, just talking to yourself. And no, you had Alex there as a producer, but you just didn't need him.
Yeah.
he only chimes in a couple times.
Yeah, well, sweet brother, he was like he wasn't in the room with me. He was on the side in the next room.
Yeah,
so
he comes
on camera.
Yeah, you're alone on camera, but he comes in like the voice of God to occasionally push you in a direction, but otherwise, yeah, you could do that by yourself.
Yeah, but I want Alex, Alex. I definitely do need Alex. So, but yeah, I was really happy with it, man. Like I've never done anything like that before. But like I have heaps of I make like Instagram stories, but I've never done like a solo, just like talking head kind of like podcast thing. So I just kind of like ran.
It was basically that, but again, the episodes, the 2. Lead into the 3rd. It's almost like a limited series release. You're gonna dump all at once.
Yeah.
I just at one point where you talked about going back to the brothel to work a couple of jobs because you needed money.
Yes.
As though that was the B story to get somewhere else, which it was. It's not that big of a deal. So what? I didn't use again.
Yeah, well, because it was funny because I keep getting interviewed for like radio where they want this like reformed prostitute, you know? And then I was like, I'm lying. Like I can't. I'm going to have to fess up about this. So I just fessed up about it. And I do have a pretty fucking funny story about going back there. I'm not sure if it's like extremely inappropriate. So if it is inappropriate, we can just cut this.
No, that's absolutely. How is anything inappropriate here?
Yeah.
Stop.
Well, I do know what.
Now, this is in Brisbane?
Yeah, this is in Brisbane. Yeah. That's where I live. I live in Brisbane. And
Australia, prostitution is kind of legal?
It is. It's recently been decriminalised in Queensland. I think like a month ago it was decriminalised in Queensland, but it was criminalised. But like we still have brothels and stuff. Like I don't really get like how it's criminalised if like we have legal brothels and stuff. But they say like it's decriminalised now, and apparently that's a big deal. But it doesn't seem like anything's really changed. But yeah, I went back and like I know like you're trying to get your name out there again and shit, Doug. So do you want to know what I used as my name?
Go ahead.
When I was working there, Bingo. And they'd be like, why is your name Bingo? And I'd be like, do you know Doug Stanhope? And I'll be like, yeah, I opened.
Did you guys hear this? Oh.
Yeah.
Here, stick your head in and say hello, Bingo.
They loved it. They loved the name Bingo. Hey, babe.
She can't hear you, but yeah, she says hello. She was just telling us occasionally when she goes to work at the brothel, she uses her stage name, her nom de plume. Her working girl name is Bingo. And I go, why are you called Bingo? She goes, well, you don't know Doug Stanhope?
That's his wife's name. Yeah, and then I name drop. So I'm getting your name out there through horny Indian men in Brisbane.
Yeah, prostitution is not something that you need to be rehabilitated from. That's a choice.
Yeah.
I mean, you had your own drug problems. If you want to fill people in on your laundry list of places to go with your material.
Yeah, well, this time the intention was different, you know? So the intention was I just need to get my festival poster done and, like, just, like, pay my phone bill and shit. So it was just, like, different. And I'm terrible at saving money. So it was just, like, a different intention this time, like, just before the festival and shit. And I was about
That
to
was
take
one of my
7 weeks
favorite parts of your podcast, where you're just a wistful aside where you just thought in the moment, it's so nice to think that I paid for my Australia festival poster with my pussy.
Yeah. I did like that. It felt real girl power, you know? I don't know much about that stuff because I don't really like read like much about that stuff, but like it felt like I was like, I think this is what they're talking about when they say girl power, like pussy power, you know? Like I paid for it with my pussy. And what else happened? And then at the brothel, like, because everyone loved the name Bingo. Like, they were like, that is such a cute name. Like, people just loved it. And I was like, yeah, it's such a cute name. And then I showed the girls in the back of the brothel room Beer Hall Putsch.
Yeah.
That show. And they fucking loved it.
Not safe for work sometimes.
And so I thought you would have liked the idea that, like, in a whorehouse is just a bunch of girls watching, like, that show. And it was really wholesome. Like, they fucking loved it. And the story about your mum, they fucking loved. And then, you know, there's times to be dainty and there's times to be a pig. So
Yes.
we categorized, after we watched that, we categorized the clients in, like, when they'd come in, we'd be like, okay, are we being dainty or are we being a pig with them? So your mother's dying last words were used at the whorehouse.
How long do you think that you could moonlight? Would you having a client recognize you from stage make you stop going back to that?
That hasn't happened yet. No, really, I saw it as audience members.
What's that?
I'd like invite them to my shows.
You've invited clients to your show? That's a fucking bringer. That's someone who's really doing everything for their craft.
Oh, dude, I actually have a video of me, like, fucked up on drugs, just being like, it's a good thing that I'm doing this because I can bring audience members to my shows. Like, and I'm just talking about it, and that's my business model, is I'm just going to fuck these dudes, and then they're going to come to my shows.
You have tape of that?
I have tape of that. I have tape, bro.
You were releasing some shit on Twitter that was hilarious of you fucked up.
Yeah.
Tell people your history of drug and drink use.
Yeah. Oh, well, how do I don't know, like...
What was tweak methamphetamine specifically, especially?
Meth was my baby. Meth was, as I said, like, well, basically I just like, I have footage of like the last like 2 years of my life from like being in a DV rep, because something told me that I have to document like everything. Like I was just like, just document everything. So just like, I have footage of me being in a domestic violence refuge up to me like choosing to start smoking meth and being a prostitute and just like all that. So I have like all this footage of me just video blogging, which I think is why I was good at like talking to camera as well, because I just spent the last 2 years kind of like video blogging everything. And some of them are like completely insane, and it was on like my like business account on Instagram, but I just felt like I had to do it. So yeah, there's footage of me like literally like at a DV refuge, and I'm like so fucked up. Like I'm not even on drugs, I'm just fucking fucked. And I just like look at the camera and like everything like shit has just happened. I've been like raped and bashed and shit, and I'm just like fucked up, and I'm just like in the refuge, and I just like I'm like I was like, if you think my comedy was dark, oh no, I was like, and then I'm like, everything in life, it just makes you funnier. It just makes you funnier. Like, if you thought my comedy was fucked before, prepare for it to get a lot darker, motherfucker. And I'm just being crazy. And so I have footage like all from there up until, so basically I was always like a pot smoker. I wish pot didn't count, but unfortunately it does.
It doesn't count. That way, I was yelling at my screen when I was watching you talking about going off the wagon because you ingested some CBD oil.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
Fucking dumb. I remember when my mother was first in AA and she was a bartender and she picked up the wrong drink at one point and had a mouthful of a cocktail, and she came home from work talking about it like she narrowly avoided death. And I had to spit it into a napkin because I would have had to start my sobriety date all over again from scratch. Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense whatsoever.
Well, they brainwashed me. They were so clever. It was so clever how they did it all. Like, because I was very vulnerable when I first went into those rooms. And, like, so I was fucked. And I just, like, kept going to meetings, but basically I've spent a year in abstinence and I've just been brainwashed. Jails, institutions.
I mean, it's great that you're sober.
It's great that I'm sober. I'm fucking been brainwashed. And then, like, I had the CBD oil. I felt like I was disrespecting your honor, and I never knew Catholic guilt like that, man. I've never known Catholic guilt like that.
You said that you started
but I started
video blogging.
Oh yeah,
like before you even started meth. You said I started when I decided to do meth, smoke meth, and be a prostitute. You just said that like it was the same day.
Yeah,
and
got
with
him
you,
a
I
goose.
wouldn't doubt.
Silly me. Yeah. So and then I was video blogging, kind of like. But yeah, and then so I was at the DV refuge. I can't really remember a lot of stuff. It kind of like I can't remember it all. I have it all documented though. If I look at my phone and look back, because I've it all documented. And there's seriously videos of me like in a brothel being so fucked up and just being like, I'm like, it's really easy for me because I've been raped heaps.
Raped Heaps. That's a fucking album title. Raped Heaps.
And I was like, so it just doesn't.
Actually, more of a band name, I think.
And I look like fucking shit as well. I look so fucking. Oh my god! And there's videos of me talking really loudly on like trains about working at like a cheap whorehouse and just like not making like any. Like I'm just talking so loudly on a train. And I was aware though. I was like, this is funny, but like everyone just thought I was like crazy. But, like, I look back on that and I'm like, that's so fucking funny that I'm talking about, like, cheap whorehouses and how I'm working on them at, like, 6 a.m., like, loudly on a train, like, looking like fucking shit. And, like, fucking, like, you know, like, the comedy industry in Australia fucking follow me on, like, Instagram and shit. So they've seen all of that and it's just hilarious.
The great thing is, even when you're, like, talking about fucking your opening act randomly on the road, and then him... like giving you the boot afterwards, and so you fired him. Yeah, the thing is, when you're not being sexy at all, when you talk about fucking people in whorehouses, there's a lot of female comics who lean into sexuality hard. Sarah Silverman always has. It's kind of her personality. There's female comic. You talk about sex like a dude. You're talking about bucking somebody. You're talking about the same way a fucking guy on a bachelor party is talking about.
I thought I was talking about it sexy, but it's good to know I'm not. Thanks.
It doesn't. You don't look like you're selling jokes with your vagina.
Yeah.
Which a lot of women like openly market themselves kind of whorish.
Oh yeah. No, I'm natural.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not. Yeah, you're slinging dick.
Are all female comedians whores except me? Dude, I hate them. I hate female comedians. I'm joking. I don't. I love Joan Rivers.
But if you listen to that story about just randomly, you fucking you're an open micer that you had as an opening act, and if you listen to that, if as though a guy was saying it, reverse the roles, and that guy is so fucking canceled. When you're the name of your show, the Uncancellable Sian Smyth.
Yeah.
I don't know about Uncancellable. It seems like that's kind of beaten into the ground. But with you, there's no other title for it.
Yeah. Well, I just thought like, how do I work that name so it's not hacky at the same time? Like, how do I be kind of creative with that name as well? I thought, and yeah, there are ways you can do that, and that is and like I really did just get him to open for me because I wanted to fuck him. And then he didn't treat me with respect. So then I just announced like my openers without even telling him that he wasn't opening for me anymore.
Did you see him in the scene?
Back.
Like, it's not a huge
And then he did
scene.
write back to like my post being like, oh, actually I'm getting Freddie McManus and Ben Caution to open for me now. And I haven't even like read his message, but he did write back to like me saying that.
The scene in Brisbane is not huge.
No, this was when I was
You
in
have to
Sydney.
see these people over and over again.
Yeah.
Oh, he was in Sydney, right?
Yeah, he was in Sydney. Yeah, but he's like, yeah, I don't really care about that. He did fucking.
It doesn't cause
me, you
problems?
stupid cunt. Like, seriously?
Like, have you had an opener since then that kind of fidgets after the show? Like, do I have to fuck her? I don't know. I don't want to be part of her act.
No, I got openers who I respect. Then, like after that, I just don't respect him.
Was he funny at least?
Nah.
Did you know he was not funny?
Yeah.
Now that's going too far. In my book, that's
Oh my
crossing
God! Shut
boundaries.
up! Don't talk ethics into
When
this.
you're given a bad comic stage time,
No,
just
he's
forget.
all right. He's all right.
Yeah.
He's all right. He's all right.
He's
would've done a
terrible,
good
and you
job.
know it.
He wouldn't. I framed it that I couldn't trust that he wouldn't be drunk for it, and that I just didn't. I thought that was unprofessional, but that wasn't the reason.
You're like me. You just you had it covered. But if it's a good story, you'll tell it publicly and admit that you're a big fat liar.
Yeah, and I also thought because my show that I did at the festival was so dark, this open micer is quite dark himself, and then I just thought maybe it would just be too much darkness. So then I just got two like lighter comics who are like a different style to me because I just thought it was a better contrast as well upon reflection and after he disrespected me like that. Stupid cunt.
He put you in a cab.
I know. And I was like, what the fuck? Like I was really openly pissed at him.
Did he pay for the cab?
Yeah, he paid for it.
Wow, and you're the headliner? I don't know about that.
Yeah, well, I didn't have enough money to pay for it.
Well, if he's paying for your taxi,
dude, it would have been like fucking like $50 if he lived so far away from where I lived. Oh yeah, I think I might have told him like you can pay for it. Yeah, but I was pissed and I was just like, I was like, you fuck it, like, I was like, well, I'm used to be, I was pretty manipulative. I was like, I'm used to be treated like a whore. I'm used to it. I'm used to being disrespected like that. And he's like, but then he was like, oh yeah, but I don't want to like punch you in my sleep because I think you're my dad. And I was like, what the fuck, cunt? Like, don't fucking bring that shit up, bro. Like, I've fucking been through hard times. I can fucking hug someone after I fuck them, you stupid cunt. Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't fucking use like your childhood trauma as a reason to be a dick.
Yeah, I've done that before. It's actually very scary.
You've punched someone?
Yeah, when I was having a dream where I was in a fist fight, and just fortunately there was always like blankets to like cover it up because if I was landing clean blows, yeah.
Well, I would have understood, but
I've never said, "Oh, this feels like one of those nights. Maybe you should stay at your own place," because I feel punchy in my sleep. That's
No, just stay awake then. So make sure you don't do it.
Yeah. Or maybe sometimes after you fuck someone, you should really just get in a fucking cab.
No, I don't do that. I don't want to do that. If I'm not getting paid, I'm not doing that. Like, it has to be like romantic as I imagined it in my head. You know, or I don't want to be treated like
run your finger through his hair while you write him better jokes all night.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever been in a relationship with a comedian. I dated only once, and we were like a year and a half, and it was pretty hard because she was a new comic, of course, newer, and she was pretty bad. Like she had like one joke that you go, fucking, that's funny. Like that joke is funny, and you tune the rest of the act out, and the next thing you know, you're living together, and she's on the road as your opening act, and that one joke is the only thing she ever had, and she stopped using it. Or she'd ask you your opinion.
Dude, I'm a comedian sexual. Like, I'm only sexually attracted to comedians.
I
like
can see.
You have to be a comedian to be like my boyfriend. Is like my.
I can see why. I couldn't really ever be very good friends with someone who's not a comedian, or at least very comedy hip. Yeah. Like Greg Chaley may as well be a comedian for all he does and all the people he hangs out with. But I forget my point.
Well, I just said I'd only ever date comedians. Like, I don't want to date like a non-comedian.
Yeah, I can see why when female comedians talk about how they can't get laid and I can't find a boyfriend, and you go, what the fuck are you talking? Like 98% of the guys in this room would just fuck you at the drop of a hat. But as I grew into comedy, I could see where, I don't find comedians sexually attractive at all, because the funny and dirty don't mix to me. There's no comedy porn. Like, you don't want to laugh and have a boner at the same time. I don't like it.
You don't?
I'm against it.
Really? That's offensive. Fuck off. No, you like it. You just haven't found the right comedian, girl. What? You haven't?
Yeah, I know. That whole I don't want to be part of someone's act thing still comes into play somewhere in your head.
Not if she respects you enough.
I don't think anyone could fuck a comedian.
Not if she respects you enough, Doug.
I don't think anyone could fuck a comedian without worrying, am I going to be part of one of your shows?
No, that's what non-comedians think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can't imagine anyone not thinking that. Yeah. Non-comedians as well as comedians.
But is that why you're worried about dating?
Or like, hey, if something weird happens, like if there's a gooshy pussy fart in the middle of this and it gets in my contact lens, which one of us gets the bit? That was always an issue. Okay, if we have a good, funny story together, so who gets ownership of the rights to that bit?
Well, the only issue I have with dating like male comedians is that they get jealous because I'm always better than them. That's the only issue that comes up.
I don't know if are they jealous, Sean, or are they just angry?
I think they're jealous. Like, my ex-partner was like a comedian. Like, I remember one night, like, I have like this Osama bin Laden joke, which I don't even fucking like anymore, but it was just a joke. And I like crushed harder at a gig than he did. And that night he like cracked my head open with a phone because of a joke.
Wait, is this the same guy?
This is the guy I was in the DV relationship with, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he like cracked my head open like with the fucking phone that night for like a fucking joke, and I just had like a scar on my head. But there was a side of me that was like, this is going to make me a better comedian. And I just had like this blood pouring down my face, and I was just like, it's going to make me a better comedian. I reckon. Like, this is like hard fucking like labor shit, you know, like hard training, you know. So yeah. But that's like the only issue I'd really have with dating comedians, is that maybe they'll get jealous that like I'm a better comedian than them. But like that doesn't bother me. I just have to find someone who's a better comedian than me. A male comedian who's better than me.
Yeah, I don't know what would be worse, is someone that was better than me or way worse. I think maybe the worst.
Same level.
The worst would be someone that's bigger than me and not funny.
That would be bad.
Like if I was dating Whitney Cummings or something, and I'd go, yeah, you make money, but ugh.
I don't even fucking know Whitney Cummings.
I'll tell you the truth, I don't either. But I know someone who talks a lot of shit about her to the point where I go, no, she must suck, but stop talking about it because I don't really know her. And
yeah. I love female comedians. I love Miss Pat.
Yeah, Miss Pat's great. Have you listened to her book, her Audible book?
She's incredible. No, I haven't listened to Rabbit, but I watched her do a stand-up set about being a child prostitute, and it was like, fucking, it moved me in the same way like Beer Hall Putsch moved me, you know, like fucking, yeah, incredible.
Now I want to start a list of books because I owe you one.
Did you listen to Man's Search for Meaning?
Yes, I did. I had to go back and find the thing and go, okay, yeah. Did
you like it?
Yeah, and I want to send you in return the 48 Laws of Power that's the one that gets in your head. You go, all right, now I'm listening to this as a joke, thinking it's going to be, I think it was free on Audible with the, it sounded self-helpy, like business, 48 Laws of Power, but it really just breaks down every day. It makes you want to get back in the game of fucking with people and like.
What is it about? 48 Laws of Power? Is it about starting a cult?
No, it's just power in general. Never, kiss ass with these in this situation. Don't do that. And it goes through history and it gives you examples. When Napoleon was doing this at Waterloo, he did this, and where he should have followed the rule of this, and it's almost like The Art of War is a famous one, Sun Tzu, but that's kind of just dumb. A lot of that's like, always keep the higher ground. Well, that's obvious, but you say it from a 1,000-year-old Chinese translation, 2,000-year-old translation. Oh, it sounds kind of like poetry, but it's basically fucking dumb shit. This is really good. I want to get you that, and I want to get you Rabbit by Miss Pat.
Yeah. Have you listened to Rabbit?
Yeah, it's really funny.
Beautiful? Yeah.
Yeah, she narrates.
I love that nickname as well. It's so sweet. Yeah.
But I remember she kept referring to going to the Looker House. We're going over to the Looker House. And there's the man standing there at the doorway of the Looker House. And like, what? And we finally figured out she's saying liquor, but it sounds like looka, like hooker with an L. It took no one said it out loud in the car, but as soon as someone figured out, and we're like, yeah, now it makes sense.
Yeah.
It does. Her narration makes a huge difference. It's great.
Yeah.
Who else?
Who else? What? As comedians that I like?
Yeah.
What? Who else? What do you mean, who else?
Yeah, well, I brought up someone that you didn't know, Whitney Cummings, and you said no, but I love Miss Pat. Like you were going to start down
I love Miss Pat. I love Joan Rivers. I love Bill Hicks.
If you were going to do that classic Hollywood thing of I'm kind of like so-and-so meet so-and-so, how would you describe yourself in those easy...
Well, now that I've told that I'm not sexual in any way, by Doug Stanhope.
You talk about fucking like a guy talks about fucking.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I feel like
I mean, like,
a mix.
every time you're talking about fucking, you could be spitting tobacco at the same time.
Well, lots of.
And I fucked this opener kid. See, ding. Hello. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm naughty. But I guess I don't know. I don't really know because I've never tried to be like anyone. You know, like I admire comics. But I don't try and be like any of them. But if I'm going off like what people have said on Twitter, people have said like, oh, she's like, if you like Carlin and if you like Stanhope and if you like Hicks, like you'll probably like her. So I feel like I'm like all those people to like my male audiences, except they don't feel bad if they wank over me.
I'm trying to think of anyone that's as dark as other. Christine Levine is the only one that I know that.
Oh yeah, I watched her.
Yeah, she drifts into a lot of the same material, like, you know, her abortion story, her finding dead people, her sex industry stuff. Yeah, but I don't know that anyone mainstream has ever fucking gone into places that you go. And I think you would be snatched up in a second if you were more contrite and, you know, and I beat the odds and I used to be me and then still made jokes about it. I go, thank God I don't have to do that anymore. But the fact that you're still like completely unapologetic, you're not a rape victim, you're a rape taker. You took that one and you're fucking gonna.
Bro, I wrote a whole comedy show.
And you are clean and sober.
I wrote a whole comedy show about it, like fucking like 8 weeks after it all happened. I don't know. Who's done that before? Because my first solo was Grub, a funny domestic violence story. That was my first ever solo, and that was written in like a DV refuge. And I really fucking, like, it's not the best when I watch it. I'm like, oh God. But I love it at the same time because I love that I wrote it in a DV refuge. And when has a comic ever fucking wrote a show in a DV refuge? When has a comedy show ever been written in those situations? Fucking never, cunt. Never. That's fucking beautiful.
And your drug history, your prostitution history, the mix of them.
Yeah, that's the other show. Yeah, and that's the and then I wrote a show. And
your mental illness.
I don't really have a mental illness. I'm not diagnosed with anything.
I just assumed.
I know.
Wait,
I'm just ADD, I think, and like traumatized probably. But I've never been like formally diagnosed with like bipolar. I've just been formally diagnosed with like autism and ADD.
I don't know if they even have mental illnesses over there yet.
There's strife. Have you been diagnosed with a mental illness?
No, I haven't. But I think it's kind of like getting a legalized weed card for medical reasons. I think if you went to any psychologist and just leaned into one of your problems heavily, they diagnose that as something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, OCD. I have OCD. I have like obsessive thoughts. But besides that, like I'm really, I'm just crazy. I feel like I'm just naturally pretty crazy. Yeah. What was it?
Yeah, over here you'd definitely be diagnosed as something. Nobody like you isn't.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Yeah, if I could afford like the healthcare to fucking go get diagnosed with something.
Well, yeah, I don't know how that works, but Bingo doesn't have a job. She's been with me for 18 years, and she gets checks for something, I don't know, from the government, and they pay for all her psych meds. Yeah, they pay for her meds. I don't know how it works.
Yeah. We have pretty good Centrelink over here. That's why it doesn't matter really that I just lost my job. I get like $870 from like the government now that I don't have a job.
Yeah, I don't forget what Bingo makes. It's like $1,000 or $1,200 a month or something. But all of her meds are taken care of. Where I just get all that blood work done just as a goof. And I have insurance, which I normally don't use. When I go to the clinic, it's usually like, it's $60 if you don't have insurance. It's sliding scale if you're poor. And I'm like, I'm not poor. I'll just pay the most cash. It's like 60 or $80. Just, rather than fill out paperwork. But this time it was like $1,200 and something for blood work. I'm like, all right, you figure out the insurance on that, because I'm not. You should be paying me to get a physical.
Yeah. So is that where were we again?
I don't know.
What else is happening? What else has been going on for you, Doug? How are you going mentally and everything? You have my number now, bro. I'm just going to say, you can't call me excessively. I know you're going to want to, but you can't call me all the time. I'm just not going to answer sometimes. I want you to... I've trusted you with my number.
I had no idea how WhatsApp worked. You asked me one night, call me. And I'm like, I don't know how to...
You know, WhatsApp. I didn't believe you. I didn't believe you. I just like, he just doesn't want to give me his number. And I was like, well, I don't have your number, so I obviously can't add you on WhatsApp.
Oh, yeah. See, I didn't know you needed a number. I thought it went through like fucking email or something. I know.
So now you have to have my number, but it's fine. It's fine. It's just if I won't answer the phone if you're drunk, basically. I won't answer, you know? But it's great. Just like, you know, just we have to have boundaries.
I'm still on the 2 drinks a night plan with this new high triglycerides fucking diet.
How are you feeling, bro?
And honestly, quitting processed sugar, refined sugar is harder than quitting smoking. I took an edible today. I went to this charity thing for the Bisbee Animal Shelter where I had to sit in the dunk tank and people threw baseballs and dunked me. But I was like the 6th person that was being dunked. Yeah. Like all the other local people went before me, so the water was like fucking. It was as dirty as this drink. It was only like chest high, and if I dropped my glasses off my head, I couldn't see them. It was fucking soup, and I'm sure I have some kind of fucking disease in my ears right now. Point is, I got high to do this, and honestly, thank God I had this scheduled, because I'm fighting myself from eating every goddamn thing in the refrigerator. Everything that's naughty for me. Fucking people who've had to diet, God love you. And fat people I've made fun of, I don't know how.
They diet?
This diet. It's
easy. You just have to hate yourself enough.
Yeah, it's not a diet, really. It's just a change of, I have to eat less fat, cut out saturated fats, red meat, and cut sugars way down.
Well, that's good. You look good at the end of it, hun.
Yeah, but in the meantime, there's times where I cigarettes, just wait 5 minutes. It'll go away. This, all fucking night long. I can eat everything.
Yeah, well, I've never had to do that, so.
Yeah, how long have you been off the tweak?
Tweak? What, off meth?
Methamphetamine.
Probably like a year, probably over a year now, man. Way over a year.
All right.
And I have a really beautiful story about like the last time I used. I really love this story. Like the last time I smoked meth. I was like, I was fucked up, man. Like, I'd smoked like fucking like 6 points in a night. And like, it was a fucking Monday. So like, no one had even come into the fucking place because it was fucking Monday. And
Wait, you're in the brothel? You're smoking meth in the brothel?
Yeah, on my own at this point. I'm just like, on my own. I've just been smoking.
Can you bring professionalism to any career path?
Can I? I can bring it to comedy. Yeah.
You have you're fucking the openers. You're smoking meth on the job in a whorehouse. Where can you behave? Where can you not get fired from? Spoiler alert.
No, like I am professional though. Like when I really need to be. That's why I was so amazing when I opened for you in Brisbane. I was so professional. I was fucking amazing.
Yes, you were fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I got so many messages from like your audience members being like, you were so great. So I can be professional like when I need to be, and when I know like the stakes are high and stuff, or when I'm really like, yeah. Like I was even professional last time I was working at the whorehouse when like my intention wasn't to smoke meth. But anyway, I want to talk about...
Take us through, Sean. I'm a customer and I'm going to your whorehouse for the first time. Where am I going? What am I seeing? Describe the place. Is there a maitre d' with a towel on his arm to greet me? Good evening, Mr. Stanhope. Your reservation is right this way. Tell us.
It's different if you're in Sydney, to work to in Brisbane.
I want to know.
So
I want to go into the one that you were smoking methamphetamine in. Specifically that one.
Oh.
Describe. Okay, I come
How
from the
can I
airport.
describe this in the most in the best way possible? Oh.
Alex picks me up at the airport, and I say, take me to the nearest whorehouse that has a crack-addled Sian Smyth working. Tell me about the ride.
Oh, that would be the best day. Oh man, I'm trying to think of like the best way to describe the crack house I worked at one point. Like, and the guy that ran it, he was like this I think he might have been in like the Chinese mafia, or like, I don't know, like he was some kind of Asian, like Chinese or Korean or something. And I've never met a man so nonchalant around so many naked women before. Like all he cared about was that dollar, you know? And he was racist, bro. He was fucking racist. Oi. He like didn't let fucking like black people like into the brothel, like as clients. Like it was fucking really rude. I was like, that's so out of place.
Did he have an excuse?
Bro, I have a photo. I can send it to you of he charged more for the Western girl, for the white girl, than he did for the other girls who worked there.
Excuse me, lady, tonight you're on sale. What? Yeah, she's, the brown one, 50% off.
Bro, yeah, he was a piece of work, man. But, he swindled, we swindled, like, it was fucked up. Like, it was a fucking dirty brothel. You'd have to pick me because you wouldn't be able to live with your conscience because you'd know that I was the only one there with a passport.
Okay, brothels I've been to, legal ones in Nevada, usually they have a main house with a bar.
That wasn't the one I worked in at Sydney.
But then,
it was illegal.
They would take you to trailers. They would take you to trailers if you wanted to be one-on-one with the girl. They had their own trailer. So was it? I'm trying to imagine the building and where would we go?
Well, I had my own bedroom. That was just like my bedroom, which I fucking loved because it was like in the middle of Sydney CBD. So yeah, I had my own bedroom, and then upstairs there'd be like more rooms, and it was so dirty, man. There'd be like cockroaches on the floor, and like it was just dirty as fuck. It was just It just looked like so many whores have died here. And I reckon if I'd been like strangled by like a client like to death, like the brothel owner would have just like hid my body and no what happened. You know, and he would
after he went through your pockets.
Yeah, and he just basically like by the end of that I was just like working for meth. I wasn't even getting paid anymore. He just paid me in meth. Could
you stay there?
Yeah, I could stay there as much as I wanted, as long as I wanted. Right. Yeah, because I had my own bedroom.
Yeah.
To his little white prostitute who he liked.
You were the only white one?
I was one of the only white ones. There was one other white girl there, and she was fucked. But yeah, like I remember the last night, like at the last night I ever smoked meth, like while working. I ever smoked meth, actually. The last time I ever smoked meth. I'd been in my own brothel room like the whole night just on my own because it was like a Monday and like no one would come in. So I was just like smoking meth like all night, just like 6 points, like, which is fucking ridiculous. Like, this bitch should be fucking dead. But I guess like Bill Hicks was watching over me, and I know you don't like me saying that, but he was. And but I was just like smoking meth the whole night, and then it was like 6 a.m. Oh, and I called my mum. Actually, I called my mum, and I said, and I just got a booking, and I was like, I don't want to see anyone. And I called my mother, who you actually met, if you remember. But I called my mum.
At the Greek Club.
And my mum she's so funny. And I called my mum, and I was like, Mum, like, I want to come home now, but I just got a booking. And Mum was like, sure, Shan, you got to stay for the booking. What would your boss say, And, I can just imagine my mum, like, hanging up the phone from that, being like, I know I can be a bit hard on her sometimes, but, I don't want her to go off the rails.
I loved her. She was fantastic.
Oh, she is.
And I was in bad shape.
I know.
It was like day 3 of quitting smoking, and I still had that cough that fucking, Ratso Rizzo. And
she checked in on you. She was like, "Oh, Doug, I heard that you only had 1 hour's sleep last night. Sean told me." And then she said, "I'm sorry to hear about what happened with your mother."
Yeah, it's 15 years late, but better late than never.
But I just like that. It's just so funny to enter on that. You know what I mean? She's so funny, man. Oh man, there's no one like her. And and then also when she came in, she was like, "Hi, Doug. I don't know who you are." But Sean told me about what happened with your mother, And so anyway, Mum told me to stay for the booking. Not even the brothel manager told me to stay for the booking. Like, my own fucking mother did. So I was like, okay, well, I'll stay. I don't want to make her unhappy. And I stayed, and the guy came in, and it was just a really good, it was just a beautiful, man. I find this story beautiful. And he came in, and he was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Nah, I'm fucked. Like, I have a meth problem." And he was like, "Well, I have a sex addiction problem." And I was like, okay, well, maybe after this, I should go to a 12-step meeting, and you should go to a Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous meeting. And then I didn't even fuck him that night, I just hugged him. I remember, and it was so movie, the way I imagine it, because it's like this dirty brothel, and I'm naked and shit, and so fucked up, and I'm just hugging him. And I can see it on the dirty brothel mirror that they have on the other side. And he was like, "Yeah, it's because I'm lonely." And I was like, "Yeah, it's because I'm lonely too." And then I just left and got on a plane and went to Brisbane and went to a 12-step meeting. And I've been sober off meth ever since, So I just think that's a really beautiful moment, because it was he very much clicked on what was going on. I was like, "Oh, I'm doing this because I've pushed everyone away, and now I'm they say the opposite of addiction."
I think you could sell that. You could sell that movie if you were a different person, if you were a different comedian. That Huffington Post would eat up that fucking Hollywood ending. If you were at the same time going, and I spend a lot of time teaching kids to stay off meth, and fucking wrote a.
I'm a social
if you
worker.
Had that angle,
I'm a social worker. That's my degree.
Oh, I was going to ask what that job that you were may or may not be getting fired from after episode 2 of your first 2 entries into podcastdom.
Yeah, I'm a social worker.
You actually got you thought you're getting fired, and you have a developmentally disabled comedian to be on with you as your counselor person. What do you call them?
Advocate.
Support
person.
And you on Zoom, you have 2 people. It's right out of a fucking movie from human resources that are going to get the story about, because you took a picture of a guy sleeping at your job and put out a viral video of him, and then he or someone got cunty and reported you for taking pictures in the office without getting permission. It was just so Office Space to watch these two women joyfully grill you passive aggressively. The whole fucking podcast is so good.
Dude, so many people told me I was crazy to do that. Like, and that's why I got a bit mad at my 12-step community, because they said it was like irresponsible, and I actually got very angry, and that they thought, because I was like, I'm going to do it anyway. And then Alex, like, I messaged it to Alex. I was like, Alex, this is what I think I should do. And then I like tripped out and I was like, nah. And I unsent all the messages and I was like, nah, it's just a crazy idea. And Alex was like, actually, Sian, I saw those messages. I just couldn't open them because I was at work, but I 100% endorse this idea. And then I was like, I'm doing it. I'm getting an intellectually disabled man to advocate for my job back to HR. And it, like, I did not expect it to go the way it went. Like, it's just...
It was. But I was like wondering, what the fuck could you possibly have done for a job that you could get that job in that kind of environment? I mean, I can see why they would be brought up on charges, but so that was doing what?
I'm a social worker, so I work homelessness.
Wow. You'd think they'd be a little bit thicker in the knuckles.
No.
Working with homeless people.
Yeah, homeless people are gross.
I don't want to give away. I don't want to give away too much of the podcast, but.
Yeah, I know, but we can do a spoilers one, and like Alex can like edit it if the conversation is like flowing in that way, because I do like to talk about that work of art I made. But I work with homeless people. Well, not anymore probably, and maybe never again after that. But
well, it's not like the States. For my listeners that don't know, you can't. It's not like the States where you can make it as a comedian to a place where there's still only fucking 8 cities in fucking Australia to speak of. So it's road work is you better either turn over material really fucking fast, have a team of writers, or have a side job or a podcast that fucking kills. And I know yours will. I'm gonna wrap this towards a close. Anything else you want to plug?
You want to?
This is going to go out. Alex, you're there. Is Alex even voice of Godding this? Yeah. I know all the links will be in the show notes.
Yeah. We'll do all that. We'll have it available before this goes out.
So this will come out. I don't even know how to get my own podcast, much less tell people where to find yours. And I don't know when it's coming out, but I'm sure Alex and Chaley will have tea and crumpets and work out the details.
We have a great marketing team behind us.
What are you doing next?
Well, I've got my solo show, Western Girl, on the. I'm doing a second filming of, just because I want 2 to pick from for my filming. So I'm going to be doing my show again, Western Girl, at Good Chat in Brisbane. But I don't know if anyone from Brisbane listens to this, but I will be doing that show again at Good Chat, and then I'm going to be working hard on this podcast and somehow find a way to get to America, even though I now have no job. But I will work it out. I'll fucking sell my cunt, brah. Like, fuck, I'll get there. No word of a doubt. I don't have a criminal record anymore, so it shouldn't be a drama getting in.
I love you. I can't wait to see what you do with your career.
I'll still love you in the morning too.
You know I'll always be here. Thank you, Alex. You'll have this up, and you guys will figure it out. Thank you for listening to the Doug Stanhope podcast. Since Bingo's not here, I'll let you take us out of this as Bingo, your prostitute character.
It's a lot the same as this
Yeah,
character.
you can't do okay, bye-bye now. You have to do your own. Oi, matey.
Oi, see later. Later, you dirty cunt.
That'll work. All
Later,
right,
you
we'll see you soon. Oh, can't wait to watch more of your podcast. Okay, bye now.
Thank you. God bless. Bye. Interesting, because I've talked to my other friends who have experienced sexual violence, and I've experienced a lot of sexual violence in that relationship. I've become so desensitized to it that this work to me is very easy.